Welcome back, guys, to another Clash Royale video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the widely debated spawner deck. This is a deck I've been using right here. It's been doing pretty good for me. I'm currently sitting just over 2,400 trophies, and I've been able to win with it quite a bit at this trophy range, so it's pretty decent. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the replays here. So here we are, guys. Now, it's interesting to note that I've never actually played a spawner deck before doing this video. In fact, this match here was one of my first matches with the spawner deck, so pretty interesting. I did have a general idea as to how they were played before I went into it, but a lot of people have a hard time facing the spawner deck, and my recommendation to you is to try it out for a day or so, because you will realize different ways it can be countered and different weaknesses that it has. And one thing to consider is that the spawner deck is only really strong when it gets to the double elixir period, because a barb hut itself is 7 elixir to drop down. So a lot of times when you drop a barb hut, people will just counter the opposite side because you don't have the elixir to defend it. And one of the cool things with the spawner deck is that it's a great counter for the expo deck, because the huts will continuously pump out new troops, and you can just place a building in front of your towers and it'll defend that. So that's pretty cool. Now, one really cool thing with the spawner deck is the play style is completely different from any other deck that you can play. It almost feels like a whole different game, because you just focus on dropping your buildings and then watching the troops spawn out and go to the enemy tower. So it is pretty interesting to mix it up sometimes, but it does feel like a whole different game almost. And pretty uneventful so far in this battle. Basically, I've just been focusing on defending, like I said. The next couple of replays after this one, I'm going to do speed up the first couple of minutes of the footage, just because it's pretty much the same thing over and over again, placing down the huts. But overall, he's been trying to use that goblin hut, or the goblin barrel, sorry, on my left tower, but I had the arrows to defend against that. Now, his deck is pretty interesting because he also has the minion horde, and what he's trying to do is he's trying to use the goblin barrel to bait out my arrows, and then use the minion hordes after that. But with the spawner deck and having so many spirit goblins out, and I also have that baby dragon in there, a lot of the times it doesn't really work for him. So now we're getting into the double elixir period here. So now I can start cycling through my cards faster, getting up multiple huts. And here you go, guys. I got the baby dragon coming in on the right, a second spirit goblin hut coming up here. He's going to try and come in on the left with the prince, but I have those spirit goblins to defend. Now, one thing I've noticed with the spawner deck is it's a really slow play style, and a lot of the matches that I've played actually ended up being in draws, because they would play super defensive, trying to defend against all my spawner troops, and I didn't really have the aggressive style deck to do a strong push. I was just focused on getting my buildings up, so a lot of them ended up being in draws. So it can be pretty boring in that sense, but when you do win with the spawner deck, it feels pretty good watching like 16, 17 spirit goblins destroy a tower in a couple of seconds. So now we're going into overtime here. 90% of the victories that I've played with the spawner deck ended in overtime. If the game didn't make it to overtime, it's usually because I lost. So here we go. Now I got 2 barb huts coming up here. Gonna get that second spirit goblin hut in just a moment. But watch this, guys. I got 4 barbarians, bomber behind that coming in here. Second spirit goblin hut coming up right now. He's got those minion hordes, but of course they got so many spirit goblins that's gonna take him out. He's gonna try going on the left with the prince. All I have to use is the spirit goblins to distract that, and the arrows there to take care of those goblins. Now my left tower is down to 700 health, but he has to desperately try and defend that right hand tower, because we only have 20 seconds left. And watch this, guys. I got the baby dragon going in there, bomber going in there. The knight is in there for the to tank, just because a lot of my troops are weak to AoE damage. So I have the knight in there. Now watch this, guys. 10 seconds left. Look at all those spear goblins going to go in there, take out the tower in a couple of seconds. Pretty crazy. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next replay here. Now this replay was pretty ridiculous, guys. It's against another spawner deck, but he's at level 9, I'm at level 8, and if you look at the level of his troops, his barbs and his spirit goblins are level 9, mine are level 7. Most of his troops are 2 levels higher than mine, so I feel like when you have 2 identical decks, the level of your troops does make quite a bit of a difference here. And given how low I got his tower at the end there, I feel like the outcome to this battle might have been a little bit different if we had been equal level. But I am going to speed up the footage for this replay, just because we're both using spawner decks, and it goes all the way till overtime, so I just wanted to speed it up a little bit here. But throughout the whole battle, we're both just placing down our towers, trying to push the opposite side. Like I said in my last replay, the playstyle of the spawner deck is a completely different playstyle to anything else I've played in this game right now. It honestly feels like a whole different game, essentially, when you're playing with the spawner deck, because all you focus on is just getting those towers down and watching the troops go to the enemy lane. So now we're into double elixir period, 60 seconds left. This is where things start to get interesting. I've got my bomber hut out. He's got that wizard, which is a pretty strong defense, a level 7 wizard. Pretty strong defense against all of my troops and those barbs, but of course I've got the bomber. Bomber is the perfect defense for barbs. One of my favorite troops right now is that bomber. Now look at this, guys. Look how much damage I do right here. All those spear goblins, they're going to go in there. In a couple of seconds, they get his tower down from full all the way to 1200 health. Now we're into overtime. I got 2 spear goblin huts out. He's going to put more huts down. And it's interesting to note that even though he's got a 2-level advantage over me, my troops seem to be winning here. His tower is on a 1200 health. He's going to use that fireball to try and take out my tower. I've got another push going on here. 20 seconds left. But of course, he's got the splash damage and all that stuff in there. His tower's on to 1000 health now. 5 seconds left. That's going to be a draw. I thought it was pretty crazy though. Just 2 spawner decks going at it. Let's take a look at one more replay, guys. 15. So here we are with the last replay, guys. This one had a pretty crazy ending, so make sure you stick around to watch that. But I am going to speed up the footage here just a little bit, just because the spawner deck plays pretty slow right at the beginning here. So he tries to go in with the Hog Rider. Fortunately, I had the Tesla to defend against that. Otherwise, it could have been pretty ugly. Now I got the Barb Hut down here. He does have that Wizard, which is going to wreck my Barbs, but watch this, guys. This is one of the reasons why the Bomber is my favorite troop in the game right now. Absolutely destroys those Barbs. Now he has the Inferno Tower, which is probably one of the worst defenses against the spawner deck. So unfortunate for him. If he had the Bomb Tower, then the outcome probably would have been really different here. But overall, just playing it slow, trying to defend, getting my hut set up, waiting for the double elixir period. And it really is interesting, guys, playing with different decks sometimes. The playstyle for this deck is so different than anything else. And even if you don't like the spawner deck, like I said before, try it out. It will make you realize some different strategies on how to beat it. So now we're into the double elixir period here. I'm going to start getting up multiple buildings here. 2 barb huts down right now. He drops those barbs. Of course, I got that bomber there. Now I got 4 buildings here. Now we're going to go to normal speed. 4 buildings up, all pumping out troops. 30 seconds left. I have the knight up front tanking here. Of course, he's got that Inferno Tower, but it's not very effective against any of these troops here. And all I'm going to do right now is just keep cycling through my cards and keep that pressure on. He's going to try and go in on the right here with the Barbs and the Hog Rider, and watch this Bomber do work to these Barbs. Absolutely destroys them. Now we're into overtime. Still have 4 buildings up. If I had threw in an electric pump with this deck, I could probably cycle through to get more huts up, which would be pretty crazy. Now watch this, guys. Look at all these troops coming out here. So many troops. It's absolutely crazy. He's got his wizard coming in on the right. I'm just going to ignore that completely. He's going to try desperately to defend. I've got 3 spear goblin huts here. I'm going to drop my knight to defend here and count how many spear goblins there are here. Look at this, guys. Look at all that damage to that tower. I think I counted 15 spear goblins. Absolutely ridiculous. Super fun to try it out though, guys. That's going to do it for this video. Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, and also make sure to subscribe if you guys want to see some more Clash Royale videos. Thanks again, guys, for watching, and we'll see you in the next